Naruto, Reborn Prodigy, Master of all Ninjutsu, Episode 101. Danas listened, but did not let go. Because he knew better than anyone that this time he was not an ordinary thief who was chasing and killing him. In order to kill himself, Cardo hired a ninja. That is why he would question the three little ones. If these three imps can't do it, then the money he spent will be lost, so forget it, maybe his life will have to be lost. As he thought so, Naruto glanced at Danas. Uncle, you shouldn't lie about the military situation. In fact, you are not worried about those thieves on the road, but you are worried that the people hiding in the shadows are actually ninjas, right? As soon as these words came out, Danas' body suddenly trembled, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Kakashi on the side saw that something was wrong, so he continued to ask, could it be that Naruto guessed it? If the opponent is a ninja, the mission is not as simple as C-class. That means Danas has to spend more money. How can he have so much money? It is because there is no money that he deliberately says that there are thieves on the road. Danas pretended to be calm and walked in the front, not letting everyone see his expression. What are you talking nonsense? How could I be hunted down by a ninja? I'm your client. Dare to doubt me. If you don't want to make this money, change people. If it is not straight, the chi must be strong. Let him take more money out. That is absolutely impossible. Naruto just thought it was funny. He just wanted to stimulate Danas, but he didn't expect that his ability to lie was quite strong. Kakashi just glanced at Danas one more time and didn't pursue any further questions. In his opinion, who would joke with their own life? Seeing that Kakashi and the others did not ask again, Danas couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. In case you are caught and pay the commission fee, it will be finished. Anyway, he can't pay more, because he really doesn't have that much money. All the way. 4 people walked one road after another. After crossing an intersection, you enter a dirt road that can pass 3 or 4 people at the same time. Trees on both sides, and the road ahead is so gentle and long that it seems that you can't see your head. Everyone walked and found nothing unusual. It's just that Naruto and Kakashi both glanced at the puddle at their feet almost at the same time. He looked up at the sky again. Today and yesterday were sunny and there was no rain. As a traverser, Naruto was a prophet, and he certainly knew why. Kakashi, on the other hand, has a lot of ninja experience and knows how to observe the situation in the vicinity. He noticed that Naruto was also watching, and the two looked at each other. Naruto didn't react. But Kakashi smiled. At this time, Naruto looked away. The two of them continued to walk forward as if nothing had happened. After walking out only 100 meters, 2 back-to-back people suddenly appeared in the puddle. The two had black hair. The lower half of the face is covered by something similar to a gas cover. They wore mist shinobi braces on their heads, and the two of them also had metal-like bracers on their hands. One of them wore a black cloak with a horn decoration on his head, and the other had 2 horns. Standing on his heels, one of them leaned forward and bounced up, and a chain of multiple shurikens flew out of the metal bracer in his left hand. The other figure did not move, his right hand flung out, and a chain composed of multiple shurikens also flew out of the metal bracer. And the 2 chains are connected. They're incredibly fast. By the time everyone reacted, the chain had already entangled Kakashi. Unable to move, Kakashi's eyes widened and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Naruto remained nonchalant. However, Sasuke, Sakura, and Danas were all frightened by the sudden appearance of the two, and even forgot to react. Only one of the two was heard shouting in a voice that was almost crazy. The first one, when the hand pulls hard, the other person does the same. A brush. In front of everyone. Kakashi was directly torn to pieces by the chain of the two. A pool of blood fell to the ground like dirt, causing thousands of dusts to obscure everyone's sight. In addition to Naruto, several people were shocked. No one expected that the journey that should not have been in any danger would suddenly encounter such a dangerous situation. Kakashi was actually killed directly. Sakura screamed, "Kakashi-sensei!" Danas on the side was even more frightened and unable to move. Sure enough, it still came, but Danas didn't expect it to be so fast. And was a Konoha shinobu just killed like that? Even Sasuke couldn't keep his composure. Only Naruto still looked calm. Because he knew it was just Kakashi's stand-in. How could Konoha's replica ninja be killed so easily? At this time, the 2 mist shinobi did not stop, disappeared into the air in an instant, and appeared behind Naruto in the next second. The voice rang right in Naruto's ears, the second one. Sakura stood there, her feet unable to exert strength at all, but her mouth shouted, "Naruto, be careful." Kakashi snorted, holding a kunai in his hand and rushing directly towards Naruto. He wanted to save Naruto. It's just that Naruto looked calm, and then whispered, "You too, look behind you." "What?" One of them actually responded. "I'll show you what's behind you." Naruto's voice came from behind them, and the Naruto in front of him instantly turned into smoke and disappeared. "Doppelganger?" Kiri Shinobu exclaimed. Just about to turn back. The two received a heavy blow from Naruto in the back, and with a muffled snort, the two were kicked far away. The feet of the two men rubbed the ground for a long time, and the dust raised almost covered the two of them, but after they established their feet, they quickly attacked. As with Kakashi, one stood still, the other bounced to the ground, and they were going to tear Naruto to pieces with that chain. However, Naruto stood motionless. He took out a handful of kunai in his hand, and when the chain was about to entangle him, he easily used kunai to wrap it up. With a force, Naruto was ready to pull the two men to his side. It doesn't feel good. The chain broke free directly from the metal bracers of the two men's arms, and the two retreated one after another. With a glance at Danas, they planned to give up attacking Naruto and choose to kill Danas. However, before any action could be made, Naruto, who was originally standing in place, appeared in front of them. "Hey! Your opponent is me, don't look around, your life is in danger." Bang! With a loud bang, Naruto punched the other in the face. The mask that covered half of his face was distorted alive. Bang! There was another loud bang, and the other person was beaten in the same way. It's just that neither of them is in the same place, but it was Naruto who beat them. Shadow Doppelganger. Episode 102, when the two were about to land. Naruto's body stepped forward and raised his hand to contain the necks of the two. The two who were beaten up were in the hands of a little ghost, and they couldn't exert any strength. Sasuke, who had planned to rush forward, had already stopped moving, but watched the scene where Naruto easily subdued the two. He didn't find out when Naruto used the shadow avatar at all, obviously so close, he didn't even have to seal it. Naruto ignored the surprised Sasuke and just shouted, "Kakashi-sensei, you should come out too." His words surprised the people present again. Sakura looked in the direction where Kakashi was killed. Lying on the ground at this time were some wood that served as a stand-in, and there were no blood stains that belonged to Kakashi at all. It turns out that just a stand-in? Sakura's original feeling of panic seemed to dissipate a lot. Danas couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Konoha's upper shinobi is still relatively reliable. And the little blonde in front of him seems to be very reliable. Kakashi listened to Naruto's call, and only then appeared in front of everyone. He had an apologetic expression. "I'm sorry to worry you," Sakura said with a hint of reproach. "Kakashi-sensei, I really thought you were killed by those two." In the reproach, there is also a hint of fear. Even though she knew it was just a stand-in, she was only 12 years old now. The scene of being killed is too real, and although it is fake now, it does not mean that it will not be true in the future. As a ninja, sooner or later, they will accept tasks that require risking their lives. Sooner or later, we will experience a real parting of life and death. Seeing Sakura's fear, Kakashi comforted, "Don't worry, with me, I won't watch my companion die. Just now I just played some tricks to see who these two people are targeting." After speaking, he looked at Naruto with a helpless expression. "It's a pity that it was disturbed by Naruto, and I can't analyze it when you strike so quickly." Naruto's face was full of black lines, and his hands were still tightly encircling the two people, and he said directly, "Kakashi-sensei, I'm still holding two people, can't you come and help me? I was a kid and couldn't handle the weight of two adults." Kakashi didn't believe what Naruto said at all. Without borrowing the power of the Nine Tails, he could subdue two Naka shinobi with his bare hands, and Naruto's strength should not be underestimated. However, he was not amazed by this, he was just glad that Naruto had become stronger. Yes, yes, yes. Kakashi walked lazily over to Naru's side, grabbed the two mist shinobi, and then tied them directly to the tree. 5 people surrounded 2 fog ninjas, and the fat mist ninja table was weakened. Who would have thought that they would be subdued by a little ghost? Kakashi crossed his hands and looked at the 2 Kirito shinobi as he looked at the 2 Kirito and asked, "Say, who are you attacking? And who appointed you?" The 2 mist shinobi didn't talk about it. Kaka wasn't annoyed, just leisurely continued to ask, "I'm also a superior shinobi, if you don't say it, I can only do it." Naruto glanced at Kakashi and thought he wouldn't have this side. Think about it though. He is a ninja after all, an elite shinobi, and has also served in the Dark Ministry of Konoha. Interrogating prisoners is certainly not a lack of work. In Naruto's opinion, it is best to be able to interrogate the whereabouts of the Peachland behind it, so that you can go directly to the Peachland and not behead. Anyway, you can't avoid this battle, it's better to come early. Then, the 2 Kiri shinobi who were tied up looked at each other and nodded to each other. In the next second, both of them showed a look of pain. Immediately afterwards, the two who were still exhaling seemed to have lost their breath. Even Kakashi didn't expect it, and he immediately stepped forward to check the breath of the two. Finally sighed, got up and said, "Dead, dead?" Sakura on the side couldn't believe it. She looked around and made a defensive state. "Kakashi-sensei, is there anyone near us?" "Good people, how did they die?" "They committed suicide." Kakashi replied indifferently, looking up at the sky, a qualified ninja who obeys 100% of the tasks given above. In order not to leak the news, choosing suicide is the choice of most ninjas. Of course, there are many people who choose to tell the truth in order to survive. It seems that the opponent encountered this time is not simple. After Kakashi finished speaking, his gaze fell on Dana's. Before he could speak, Naruto said calmly, "This time the target of the ninja attack should be Uncle Dana's, right?" Dana's was mentioned by name, and the whole person suddenly became extremely nervous. He quickly quipped, "How is it possible? As you can see, the first target of their attack just now was Kakashi. What does it have to do with me?" Naruto glanced at Dana's, and slowly said like a little adult, "Uncle's eyes did not dare to look at me when he spoke just now. Erratic, indicating that you are lying, and your hands are constantly wiping on your body, indicating that your palms are sweating a lot. You should be scared, right? You know that the person these people are looking for is you, so when you saw Kakashi-sensei killed, you thought you were going to die, so you were scared and your palms sweated." Dana's was said to be sweating profusely, because he was all hit by Naruto. But he continued to quibble, "No, there is no such thing. What are you little imps talking about? Since I said nonsense, what are you nervous about?" Naruto asked rhetorically. This left Dana's completely unsure of what to do. Isn't this imp's insight too good to be too good? Dana swallowed, and was just about to continue, but Kakashi directly interrupted his thoughts. In fact, I have been observing, you seem to be nervous along the way. If only the people of the gangster organization are really eyeing you. With us, you should not be so nervous, unless you don't tell the truth. In fact, the person who hunted you down is a ninja." Well, if this is the case, then this time the mission is not a C-level task, but a task above B-level. Saying that, he glanced at the two misty shinobi who had committed suicide again. Although nothing was asked, but they chose to commit suicide, then it means that there are still people behind it. This time it is two Zongnin, and the next time it is not good to be on the shinobi. "Uncle Dana's, if you don't tell me the truth, well, I will have a hard time. After all, I can't let my students take risks, they are still young." These words made Dana's whole person stunned, and a lot of cold sweat broke out on his forehead. These ninjas are so terrible. Episode 103. Before Dana's could speak, Sakura looked worried, and she frowned and said, "Kakashi-sensei, if that's the case, doesn't that mean we're not fit for such a task? B-level tasks, at least until the middle patients to take it, right? It's not as good as. Why don't we go back? Let Grandpa Naruto rearrange people to protect Uncle Dana's? After all, she was just a 12-year-old girl. She was different from Naruto and Sasuke. Born into an ordinary family. When I was a child, I didn't experience life and death, and the most terrible experience was probably being ridiculed by my classmates. So for death, she naturally feels afraid. She also never does things that she might not be able to do well. At first, this time the mission was only to protect Uncle Dana's from being persecuted by the gangsters. But the current enemy is not the so-called gangster group, but the ninja. And the first time it appeared, it was Naka Shinobu. The enemy that appears behind is only afraid to be stronger. So the best solution is to immediately return to Konoha village and let Grandpa Hokage reschedule this mission. Sasuke didn't speak, just silently withdrew Kumu into his pocket. He seemed to be pondering something. Kakashi looked at the scared Sakura, and said slowly, "Sakura is right, after all, you are on a mission for the first time, you still have to be cautious, then trouble Uncle Dana's to go back with us. The difficulty of this mission needs to be adjusted." Dana's was silent. All this is enough to explain the problem, there is no need to answer at all, everyone knows it. After all, his heart is too obvious. Hearing that he was going back, Naruto said lightly, "It's all coming, and it's almost in the country of waves, isn't it a little late to go back now?" Sakura looked at Naruto and said puzzled, "Naruto, what did you say? Do you know how dangerous such a task is? In case the enemy that appears behind is stronger, where can we fight?" Naruto glanced at Sakura, she knew why Sakura was scared and why she wanted to go back. He smiled and said to Sakura, "With me and Kakashi-sensei here, you don't have to worry, it'll be fine." Hearing this, Sakura couldn't help but feel her heart soften. Naruto said, "There he is." The original fear seemed to disappear in an instant. On the contrary, there is a throbbing feeling, as if it is protected. Kakashi shook his head helplessly. Naruto's handsome girl is first class. Turning his head to fall his gaze on Sasuke, he asked, "What about Sasuke? What do you think? Want to return to Konoha village, or continue your trip to the land of waves?" Sasuke's expression was very serious, and when he looked into Naruto's eyes, he did not admit defeat. "I think Naruto is right, it's all fast, it's really impossible to go back now." Naruto is not afraid. What is he afraid of? He is the number one among the students this time. How could you lose to Naruto? But he. It seems that unknowingly lost twice. When I was in Kusanagi village, there was just now. He didn't even have time to strike, but Naruto had already dealt with the enemy. Sakura actually wanted to go back. But hearing that both Sasuke and Naruto were planning to continue this mission, she seemed to struggle as well. Kakashi returned his gaze to Sakura again, and he asked gently, "Sakura, what about you?" Sakura lowered her eyes, not knowing how to answer. "Don't worry, even if you say you want to go back, no one will blame you, this time the mission is already beyond the level." Kakashi was gentle, especially with his own students, and was a girl like Sakura. Naruto came to Sakura at this time and said with a smile, "If you are really afraid, you will always be by my side this mission, and I promise that no one will dare to hurt you." "Naruto, you are really cunning, this is completely forcing Sakura to go." Naruto had a look of indifference. "After all, it's all here, it's a pity not to go. If Sakura wants to go back to Konoha village now, Kakashi-sensei will definitely take all of us back, right? He is going to the country of waves to make a fortune, and it would be a pity if he cut off this path of wealth." But where did Sakura know that Naruto was thinking like this? She thought Naruto just didn't want to stop halfway. "Thinking of myself at the moment, I actually encountered a little setback and planned to give up." Sure enough, the gap between himself and Naruto was already getting bigger and bigger. The originally scared expression became firm at that moment. "Since everyone thinks I want to continue, I'm also a ninja, and I can't give up." Kakashi looked relieved, feeling that the three little ones seemed to have grown. Then his gaze fell on Danas. He did not continue to ask, but said with a smile, "Uncle Danas, you also heard, whether or not those ninjas came to pursue you just now, we intend to continue this mission." Danas' originally nervous heart suddenly relaxed. If Kakashi was going to bring himself back to Konoha village just now, he really wouldn't be able to get the money to upgrade this mission to a B-level mission. You know, the commission fee for B-level tasks is too high for ordinary people to afford. Otherwise, he wouldn't have risked reporting the mission to a C grade. Fortunately, these people did not give up on themselves. He wiped a handful of sweat on his forehead, then the next wrote, please, but you must not let me die, otherwise, no one will give you a commission fee." This doesn't seem at all like someone who needs to ask others to protect him. Naruto looked cold, and he said directly, "Uncle, you are also too unprincipled, but we kindly sent you to the country of waves. If you don't have thanks, forget it, you still take it for granted?" Danas was completely unaware of his mistake. Anyway, they would go with him to the country of Bono. He behaved even more unreasonably, crossed his hands at his waist, pointed at everyone, and said, "I'm a client. I am God. Everything I say is right. I spent money, do you want me to thank you?" Naruto's face was full of black lines, and as soon as he turned around, he said to Kakashi, "Kakashi-sensei, I changed my mind, let's go back, let this uncle go to the country of waves by himself. Anyway, there are thousands of ways to make a fortune, and it is not only the road of the country of waves." Kakashi seemed to agree with Naruto, and he turned around and said, I think this is not bad, let Naruto-sama arrange individual tasks for us, even if it is a B-level task, you can get more commission fees." Sakura and Sasuke also turned around, gesturing to leave. At this point, Danas finally realized the danger. Episode 104, Danas hurriedly rushed to the four people, with a pleading expression, "I know it's wrong, I shouldn't lie about the real situation, the road ahead is really dangerous, and the next person who comes to kill me may be even more powerful. If you leave me alone now, I'll really die." Everyone looked at the uncle in front of them coldly, very helpless. "Really too rogue." Naruto sighed and spoke, "It's okay if you want us to continue to protect you, but you have to be humble and tell us all the truth, otherwise, you will go the rest of the way. They are ninjas, not babysitters. Didn't give enough money, and hope that they will continue to protect? What kind of business is this? Loss-making business, Naruto can't do it." Danas looked at Naruto, who was small, but did not speak like a child, and was shocked by his words. He instantly became well-behaved, and his shoulders fell down. "I told you everything, and I asked you to continue to protect me." Danas corrected his attitude and made the four very satisfied. The five men continued their journey and arrived at the ferry. To travel to an island country like Wave Country, you need to take a boat. 5 people boarded the boat. The boatman seems to be somewhat familiar with Danas. After boarding the boat, several people sat down on the edge of the boat, with Danas sitting in the most central position. On board, Dana spoke up intermittently. Finally, I learned that it turned out that Kato was manipulating the whole thing. Kakashi knows something about Kato. He is the boss of the shipping company, Kato Group. On the surface, he is doing shipping business, but in fact, he is doing some things that are not on the table, and he even spends money to hire ninjas as his backing. Kato was a man with great ambition, using his wealth to monopolize all kinds of businesses and even use his financial resources to control some weak countries. The Land of Waves is an example of this. It was because of Kato that the Land of Waves became extremely poor. Danas wants to change all that. He wants to build a bridge. If bridges were built to connect island nations with other countries on land, transportation would be made easier, and the economy of the country of Wave would improve. Therefore, the construction of bridges is an extremely important event in the country of Waves. Not for the bloody capitalist Kato, of course. Once the bridge is built, then his business will suffer. Since he wants to monopolize, he naturally does not allow others to interfere with him. In order not to let the bridge continue, he did a lot of bad things in the Land of Waves, and this time he paid a ninja killer to murder the designer Danas. Everything is clear. Just after speaking, Dana sat on the boat, looking pitiful. So if you give up at this time, I will be killed before I get home, and my lovely daughter and grandson will definitely wash my face with tears all day. Of course, this is also my moment. You don't have to feel sad, you will only live on the condemnation of conscience all your life. Not all old people in the world deserve sympathy. When some hooligans get old, they will only become old hooligans, just as annoying as young hooligans. Naruto glared at Danas and said, "Uncle, do you really think we dare not leave you off the ship?" A look that made Danas instantly bow his head and obey. "I know it's wrong, and please make sure to get me home safely, and I will definitely thank you very much." Seeing this, Sakura couldn't help but laugh. Looking at Naruto's angry look made her feel a little cute. The boat kept moving. Through the long sea, the fog almost obscured their vision, but the unfinished bridge could still be faintly seen. Looking at the bridge, Dana's eyes flashed with helplessness and hope. If the construction of this bridge can start normally, I think the people of the Land of Waves will definitely be able to live better than before, right? His own son will not die in vain because of this. Sakura looked at Danas with pity in her heart. Although Danas did not tell the truth, he was also pitiful. "I just wanted to build a bridge, but I was stopped by people like Kato, and even sent ninjas to assassinate an ordinary person like him. I didn't know before, but now she knows. How helpless it is to be unable to help yourself." Crossing the misty coast, the atmosphere gradually becomes dignified. The boatman carrying several people carried a cloak and looked ahead with an alert face. It is an electric boat, but in order not to make a sound, the oars have always been used. "Almost there." The boatman suddenly said. The movement in his hand did not stop, and said with a serious face, "It seems that no one has found it yet." In the thick fog, the boatman's words made the atmosphere a little tense. Obviously, Kato stared at Danas very tightly, otherwise the boatman who had a relationship with Danas would not be so nervous. Danas looked at the boatman with an apologetic expression. "I'm sorry, I'm even burdening you." The boatman did not respond and continued rowing. Since he knew the consequences as soon as he delivered Naz, he didn't mind the so-called involvement. It's just that you have to be extra careful along the way. He is also a member of the Land of Waves and does not want to see Danas fend for himself alone. After all, this bridge was designed by Danas, and if he died, the lifeblood of the country of Waves would really be in the hands of others. In the future, the country of Wave may fall under the rule of Kato forever. At this time, the ship entered the tunnel, and the light in the tunnel was even darker, but the light could be seen just ahead. Pass through this tunnel and you will reach the Land of Waves. Looking at that light, everyone sat on the boat with mixed feelings. The ship crossed the tunnel, and the fog and dim light disappeared, replaced by brilliant bright light. In the distance, you can see the sea clearly, sparkling, revealing a hint of refreshment, and there are several green trees growing above the sea. Surrounded by houses built on the sea, all of which are wooden, but look very strong. Wow! Is this the Land of Waves? Sakura also smelled a clear fragrance, blowing a warm sea breeze, and the whole person felt much more comfortable. Naruto enjoyed a short period of tranquility, and the Land of Waves was indeed a good country. If the economy is developed, it will be a good tourist attraction. Soon, the ship landed. The crowd disembarked from the ship. The boatman carrying several people reminded Danas, "I can only send you here, you need to be careful next." "Ah, I'm so sorry." Danas still felt guilty. The boatman nodded, pulled the engine and immediately left the coast. Looking at the other parties departing back, Danas turned around, and Naruto followed suit. Episode 105. The five continued on their way. The next location was to deliver Danas to his home. On the way, several people crossed a wood. The woods are extremely extensive. Surrounded by trees and on the coast, these trees grow very luxuriantly. I looked at my surroundings. Naruto estimated that according to the original trajectory, it should come if he didn't cut again. As soon as he took a step, Naruto's eyes sank slightly, and his steps lagged for a moment. Not only him, but even Kakashi. Here it comes. Peachland will not be chopped again. Just hiding in the shadows. Looking around, it was clear that this was a very good ambush site. Surrounded by trees everywhere, it is very easy to hide in this terrain as a ninja. Not to mention that Momochi no longer kills ninjas of this level. It's just that Sakura and they haven't realized the danger coming, but continue to move forward. Sakura looked very happy, as if she had forgotten the previous crisis, and she said with a smile, "Uncle, do you have anything delicious in the land of waves? Or is there any specialty or something?" Danas looked helpless and waved his hand. "Although I also want to entertain you well, but our country of wave is very poor, and there are no local products. If it is delicious, there are more fish and shrimp, after all, it is by the sea." Sakura was very interested. The fish and shrimp are delicious too. "Is it okay to eat to your heart's content?" "Sort of, but be a little more polite, although you are a ninja who protects me, but..." "Lie down." Kakashi interrupted Danas with a loud gulp. Suddenly, everyone was very obedient and lay on the ground, except Naruto dodged to the side. The eyes haven't seen clearly. Only a loud bang was heard, and a huge knife flew over, swept over everyone's heads, and finally stuck in a tree opposite. In the next second, a person stepped on the handle of the knife and turned his back to everyone. It's him. The ghost man will not be cut again. He is red fruit on the upper body. His arms are covered by black and white patterned cuffs, and under him is a pair of blue-gray striped trousers. The lower half of the face was wrapped with a bandage, and the forehead protector was not worn correctly, but crooked, just lifting the black bangs. The appearance is not handsome, and the body is full of aura that is not close to people. Everyone got up from the ground. Look at the uninvited guest who suddenly appeared in front of him. The others didn't recognize it, but Kakashi came out. He pretended to take 2 steps forward with ease and stood in front of everyone. "Yo, isn't this the fugitive ninja land of Mistine and will not be beheaded?" Sakura stood next to Uncle Danas, shivering at this time because of the blow just now. She looked at the man standing on the hilt with a worried look on her face, and instinctively repeated what Kakashi had said, "Fugitive ninja?" Momochi no longer squinted at Kakashi, and said in a low voice, "No wonder those two were easily killed. It turns out that the opponent is Kakashi, a replica ninja from Konoha village." The 2 mist ninjas who were about to assassinate Danas were sent out by Momochi's eye. As a result, the 2 subordinates died. Now Momochi will not appear in person. Ugh. Kakashi was calm on the surface, but his body was defensive. "I really didn't expect that the opponent would be you." Momochi did not turn around again, squatting on the hilt of the knife. His gaze fell on several people, each of whom glanced a few times. "I'm sorry, I don't want to be your opponent. You still hand over the old man to me, and nothing happens between us." Kakashi chuckled. "Do you think this is possible?" Without glancing at a few imps and Danas behind Kakashi, he scoffed. "With 3 imps and an old man who drags his feet, even if you have the ability, you may not be my opponent." Kakashi understood that an uphill battle would ensue. Even if he fights alone and does not slash, it cannot be said that he has full confidence that he can knock him down. What's more, he also had to protect his students, as well as Danas. In this way, I obviously can't be distracted. He didn't expect it to come across another chop. "You must know that if you don't cut it, you are the elite of the mist hidden upper ninja, one of the 7 people of the ninja knife, and the strength is very strong." However, there was also a Tenzo hiding in the shadows on their side, and Tenzo had been following them, of course, mainly to keep an eye on Naruto. In this case, it should not be too difficult to deal with it. But the premise is that Naruto can't let them get hurt. Kakashi directly removed his forehead and closed his eyes. A long scar was very conspicuous. Immediately after, he opened his eyes. That eye was completely different from his other eye, with red eyeballs and 3 gajad shapes evenly radiating on the eyeballs. Kakashi's chakra eyes were revealed. In the screen world, the riding wheel eye is extremely handsome. However, at this moment, in reality, this red eye is somewhat oozing and strange. Kakashi was ready to fight with all his might, and the murderous aura exuding from his body was completely different from his usual lazy appearance. Seeing Kakashi's eyes, his fighting spirit suddenly became a little stronger. He chuckled, with a hint of anticipation and a hint of mockery in his laughter, and said coldly, "It's really lucky, I didn't expect to meet the legendary Sharingan so soon." Sakura and Danas didn't know what a chakra eye was, and they hadn't heard of it. But Sasuke, who was a member of the Uchiha clan, knew very well. He was surprised that Kakashi actually had the Sharingan. Even people from the Uchiha clan don't have it. But Kakashi does. When he was so surprised in his heart, Momochi jumped directly from the hilt without chopping, but with a wave of his hand, the knife returned to his hand and was placed on his back. This is a decapitation knife that belongs to Momochi, no longer beheaded. The decapitated knife can absorb the iron in the enemy's blood, so as to repair itself and absorb the blood to recover, and is regarded as an unbreakable knife, which can make the bearer stronger and stronger. But wait until I solve those little minions behind you first. No more smiling. One hand raised the tall knife, leaned forward, and gestured to rush forward. At this time, he saw Naruto take a step forward. The dust under his feet flew, and with just a slight flick of his hand, the red chakra instantly wrapped his whole body. The eyes turned scarlet. The two fangs grew long, and the fingernails became extremely sharp and turned into claws. The red chakra was rolling as if it were alive. It was as if boiling water was constantly bubbling, as if it touched half a minute, it would be swallowed by the red chakra. In an instant, the murderous aura that originally emanated from Kakashi's body was instantly covered by Naruto's aura. Episode 106. If the murderous aura just now was hell on earth, then now, it is real hell. Sasuke, who was standing there, took out the kunai in his hand. But he was a little overwhelmed by Naruto's coercion. When I was in Kusanagi village, I also felt this way. Today, it's even more obvious. He had a life held in his hands and would be torn to shreds in the next second. This is Naruto. This is Naruto, who was called the tail of the crane. Although it was not the first time to see Naruto's Ikkyo state, Kakashi was still extremely surprised. What surprised him even more was that Naruto didn't have to do anything, and he was easily turned into a tail. It shows that he has completely controlled part of the power of the Nine Tails. Naruto Ikkyo's consciousness is not only extremely awake, but his own consciousness is above the Nine Tails. Otherwise, Naruto would definitely lose control. At this time, Tianzong, who was in the shadows, was even more surprised. Sandaime told him to look at Naruto properly. Of course he knew that Naruto was the nine-tailed pillar force. But after feeling it up close, I realized how terrifying the power of the Nine Tails really was. It was like the breath of death, just a glance at it, as if it was about to be devoured. If Naruto goes further into the nine-tailed and is out of control, I'm afraid his Mudun won't be able to control it, right? And the most surprised person present is probably that the Peachland will not be cut again. Because he is Naruto's enemy. Originally, I thought that Kakashi was carrying a few minions, but this blonde boy showed such terrifying strength. He hasn't even done it yet. This? What the hell is this monster? Momochi muttered without chopping again. Naruto took another step forward, and the dust under his feet instantly turned to ashes. The surrounding mist seemed to be afraid of Naruto, and it all dispersed. The originally blurred vision became clear at that moment. Did you just say that you included me? Naruto continued walking forward with a smile, each step making Zaibu feel endless fear. For the first time, he felt such a suffocating chakra. Crawling out of the pile of dead people is no longer chopped, and he knows very well what it is like to die. At this moment, he clearly felt the existence of hell. This blonde boy in front of him, I am afraid that if he moves, he will be annihilated. He took 2 steps back and made a quick decision. In order to survive, you can only leave here. Otherwise, he will definitely be killed by the blonde boy in front of him. It was hard to survive, and it definitely can't die at the hands of a little ghost. I saw that he didn't cut the seal quickly, and disappeared in front of everyone's eyes in the next second. Fog instantaneous. Kakashi reminded from the sidelines, he's going to run. The words fell, and the original side by side with himself had disappeared. When he saw it clearly, Naruto chased away, he wanted to intercept the escape. Even if it's just me, you can't escape from here, not to mention, there are 5 of us here. Hearing Naruto's words, Kakashi's eyebrows sank slightly. Did he know someone else was following? Kakashi hadn't made a move yet, and neither did Tenzo, who was hiding in the shadows. Although they were present, plus Danas, there were only 5 of them. However, the only ones who really have combat power are him, Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto, and these are only 4 people. But Naruto said 5 people. The current Naruto is no longer the former Naruto, and Kakashi doesn't think Naruto will count Danas in the range of battle. Therefore, he must have discovered the hidden heavenly hidden in the shadows. What kind of master is Tianzo? Naruto actually found out? His strength is really terrifying to the extreme. If he was stopped again, he had already thought of such an ending in his heart, and he was not too surprised. "Che, it's just a little ghost, he wants to keep me. Since you can't escape, then fight with it. Big deal, just a death. Although I am afraid of death, it does not mean that I dare not face death." I saw that I didn't give up and escape, my figure retreated, and I raised my hand to make a seal. And Naruto stood still, waiting to finish the seal without cutting it again. Don't cut. A low roar, water dragon bomb, boom. The surface of the water is choppy. Suddenly, a water dragon rushed up into the sky, more than 10 meters tall, encircling Coil, opening its huge mouth and directly attacking Naruto. If it really hits, Naruto will be crippled if he doesn't die. Sakura stood aside and exclaimed, "Naruto! Be careful." Subconsciously, she covered her eyes. She didn't dare to look at Naruto's way of being attacked, and she didn't dare to look at Naruto's bloody appearance. Kakashi was worried. But Naruto stood where he was, not even hiding. I saw that he stretched out his hand and punched the water dragon directly. Poof. The water dragon was instantly defeated by Naruto's strange force, and the water splashed everywhere, as if it was raining heavily. Without striking his heart, his water dragon bullet was actually broken. It's just that he didn't have the energy to marvel at Naruto's strange power and make a seal again. The art of the great waterfall. The water under your feet instantly swirled upwards, forming a ring, which grew larger and larger. With a boom, the ring formed into a huge wave and hit Naruto directly. Kakashi, who was turning on his chakra eyes on the side, immediately jumped to Dana's side. Also remind Sakura and Sasuke, you too, jump on the tree. Avoid this great wave. Sakura and Sasuke were still in a state of shock, and hearing Kakashi's reminder, the two quickly jumped up and stood on a tree behind them. Next second. The great wave drowned out everything in front of you. Some of the dwarf trees were even broken by the waves. Even Naruto was submerged and disappeared. Sakura slowed down, her face very worried. She looked around and shouted, "Naruto! Naruto, where are you?" Sasuke was jealous of Naruto's strength, and Naruto's power had far surpassed him. But Naruto was a partner after all, and he looked tense, intending to wait for the opportunity to move and go down to find someone. Kakashi on the side stopped Sasuke and protected Danazu on his side with one hand, and he spoke, "It's okay, Naruto, he's much stronger than we thought. Otherwise, he wouldn't be watching the excitement all the time. If it is compared to strength, it is not Naruto's opponent now. The power of the 9 tails that Naruto possessed was too powerful. Now it is not difficult for Naruto to deal with it." By this time, the great waves had gradually receded, leaving only the mess after being flooded. Naruto, on the other hand, was still standing in the same place, not even moving a step. The red chakra on his body still made people feel fearful, and Naruto standing there was like an Asura from hell. If you don't cut your heart full of horror, this little devil is simply a monster. Episode 107. However, there is no intention of backing down. He knew that he couldn't escape, and since ninjutsu couldn't win Naruto, he would fight in close combat. He didn't believe it, the decapitation knife in his hand couldn't kill this monster imp. I saw that he didn't cut his hand and raised his big knife again, and rushed towards Naruto. With a wave of his hand, the blade slid past as if even the air had been split. Without another roar, he slashed hard at Naruto with all his strength. But Naruto just raised his hand, and the red chakra in his hand formed a blade shape. Chakra scalpel. Kakashi, who was standing in a tree watching the battle, said. Sakura watched as Naruto expertly controlled chakra. He actually materialized the invisible chakra, and it was like a blade. She looked at Kakashi puzzled and asked, "Chakra scalpel? Well." Kakashi responded, presumably taught to him by Tsunade-sama, "This is an attack-type ninjutsu in medical ninjutsu, and it has extremely high requirements for chakra's control. It's not just that. Since Naruto was using the Nine-Tails Chakra, originally ordinary medical attack ninjutsu, the lethality of this moment is several times higher than before. The power of the 9 tails should not be underestimated." Sonorous. The sound of metal crashing, and even seeing the sparks after the impact. But what everyone saw was not the collision between the two blades, but the large knife that was no longer chopping and Naruto's red chakra scalpel. No more serious expression, no intention of giving up. With a low roar, he slashed at Naruto again. Naruto coped with it easily. But in the next second, he disappeared in front of Naruto's eyes, and in the blink of an eye, he had already appeared behind Naruto. Naruto leaned forward, dodged the slash directly, quickly turned around, and shot back with a chakra scalpel. The figures of the two became faster and faster, and in the end all they could see were a few afterimages. Sakura is not as perceptive as Sasuke and Kakashi. At this moment, her whole person froze, and she muttered, "Everyone, you can't see anyone, but you can hear the sound." The sound of metal clashing was constantly heard in the air. But looking at Sasuke and Kakashi on the side, their eyes seemed to be following something, but no matter how hard Sakura tried, he couldn't see where the figure was moving. Tenzo, who was hiding in the shadows, couldn't help but sigh. This speed, it's not a shinobi should have. The ghost Momochi doesn't meet Naruto Ikkyo, it's his bad luck. Bang! After a confrontation, only a loud bang was heard. I saw a figure directly hit by something, fell heavily on the ground, and the tree behind him was knocked out of a big pit. The dust was so thick that it was not clear who was lying on the ground. Kakashi and Sasuke both looked much calmer, but Sakura was extremely worried. I was afraid that I would finally see clearly that it was Naruto lying there. When the dust cleared, a small body came out, still wrapped in a red chakra. Every step makes everything fall back a little. Sakura's originally hanging heart instantly relaxed. Fortunately, Naruto is okay. Look at the person lying on the ground, it is the Peachland that is no longer chopped. It seemed that there was no movement, and Sakura was pleasantly surprised. When Naruto won, the voice just fell. Lying on the ground, he did not cut but moved. How come? Sakura couldn't believe it. After being kicked and flying so far, even the tree behind him was slammed into that, how could it still move? Kakashi squinted his eyes slightly, and then said slowly, he's a ghost and won't be cut again. From the beginning, he discovered Naruto's strength, knowing that he couldn't beat it and wanted to escape. But when he knows that he can't escape, even if he dies, he will fight the enemy. Because as a ninja with great power, he did not allow himself to be knocked out so easily. I saw that Zai Wu Chop picked up his big knife again, plunged the big knife into the ground with force, and slowly got up with the force. Damn it. Saying that, he spat out a mouthful of bloody spit from his mouth. It's really embarrassing to be beaten like this by a little ghost. Naruto looked at the one in front of him. Just about to say something, several silver needles suddenly flew out, and the target was not Naruto, but no more chopping. The sudden appearance of silver needles, Naruto was not surprised. He knew that someone had come, and Shiro had arrived. The one with a stunning face, who is actually the white of a man, does not behead the most loyal servant. As soon as Naruto raised his hand, the red chakra formed a wall, blocking several silver needles. He was very surprised to see this. Why didn't he expect Naruto to block the silver needle for himself? Why? No more questioning. Naruto raised his hand again, his figure flashed, and he quickly rushed towards Zaibu/. The condensed chakra scalpel in his hand was like death descending, and it was not cut again. If you don't know it, you can't hide from it. Even if he was able to get up, he couldn't resist, he couldn't dodge Naruto's attack. He could die here. Die at the hands of a little ghost. Hiding in the shadows, Shiro, who wore a mask on his face, did not continue to hide. Seeing that Naruto was ready to kill and not behead, he immediately froze, only to hear a low groan. Bing dun binji and tang wu. Brush brush brush. A wall of ice blocked in front of him, and Naruto's scalpel fell directly on the ice wall. Bai has the ice escape blood succession limit, this kind of defensive ninjutsu, which is not something that ordinary people can break. Click. After being attacked by Naruto, the ice wall cracked and finally shattered in front of his eyes. Naruto didn't stop moving, and the chakra scalpel continued to move towards the unslashed attack. Bai's heart sank. There is simply no time to think about it. He immediately turned around in an instant, blocking in front of Zai Wuxian, spreading his hands out, looking like he was dying. I didn't even have time to use ninjutsu. If this knife is cut on the body of the unbeheaded, he will definitely die. However, he can't let him die. No more beheading, save his benefactor, who has fallen into desperate circumstances. Standing behind Bai, Zaiwu was shocked by this scene. He probably didn't expect Naruto to shatter even the white ice wall. Unexpectedly, Shiro did such a stupid thing, intending to use his body to block the knife for him. Seeing that the scalpel was about to cut on Bai's body, Bai's brows did not wrinkle. In order not to kill again, it is worth it. It's just that. The heavy blow did not come down. Naruto's scalpel hung in midair, taking Shiro's life without bloodthirsty. Bai's face hidden under the mask showed great puzzlement. According to Naruto's power, as soon as the sword came down, he was dead. But Naruto didn't do that? I saw the boy in front of him withdraw his raised hand. The chakra that was originally condensed into a scalpel gradually dissipated, and the chakra wrapped around the outside of the body gradually disappeared. The fangs are gone, the claws are gone, and the eyes are back to a good-looking azure blue. The oppressive chakra that exuded from his body disappeared without a trace. Episode 110, Naruto beckoned, I'm a pigeon who never puts money. I don't think this sentence is strange, but I don't know where it is strange. In the end, he disappeared directly with Shiro. On the way back to Donatsu's house, Kakashi glanced at Naruto and he asked, "You just said you would never put money on pigeons, that is, you've done this before?" Naruto laughed, sort of, but it's all small money, how can there be more money this time? Cardo is a super capitalist, and he must have a lot of money on his hands. Ah, I didn't expect that you did a lot of earth-shattering things at a young age. Naruto laughed and said nothing. No matter how earth-shattering things are, they are not as good as those after coming to this Hokage world. Who would have thought that he could learn ninjutsu and even have such intimate contact with these people in the Naruto world? Everyone walked on the road, and Danas looked pitiful. Such a big project, he could not participate. What a shame. Don't say it's him, even Taianzo, who is hiding in the shadows, looks like a pity. Ah, really, I can only hide in the shadows, I really want to participate, I don't know how much money this Cardo has. Originally, Tenzo had always been in the dark and always did things that could not see the light, and this trip to the Land of Waves surprised him with Naruto's performance. I didn't expect a child to give birth to such an idea. Sakura didn't feel good at first, but after deciding to go, she started to get excited. After delivering Danas to the doorstep, Kakashi and the others are going to find Kato. But Danas kept everyone, "It's hard to come, why don't you rest at my house first?" "No, we're still busy." Naruto took the lead in speaking, "Uncle, remember to build the bridge well, I think after today, Cardo will not come to trouble you again." Danas, who was standing there, was stunned. He didn't seem to expect Naruto to say this. As Naruto and the others turned to leave, Danas took 2 steps forward and shouted, "Thank you for sending me back. I hope you are careful along the way." Kakashi beckoned, signaling that he heard. And Danas did not leave for a long time, standing there looking at their backs. Although he lied at first, it was only because of them that they survived. The crisis seemed to be resolved easily, but he knew that his life was saved by these people. The teenager said that he was going to trouble Cardo in order to extort his money. But just now he said that Cardo will not come to his own trouble again. In fact, there is light in the heart of this teenager, right? He not only accepted this commission, but also genuinely worried about himself. Even if it's just a little. This time, their plan was actually for the safety of the Land of Waves. Thinking of this, Danas shook his head gently. In fact, it is not so important, it is good to be alive. When he pushed open the door, his grandson sat at the table and greeted him happily when he saw him coming. The daughter also hurriedly came out of the house. "Dad, you're back." She was worried about her father. Danas took off his hat and said with a smile, "Well, I am back, it's good that you came back safely." The daughter looked reassuring, "It's better too. Let's not build that bridge again. Cardo, this person has no heart." "Keep it up, Dad, you definitely." "It won't." Danas smiled and said, "Not anymore, Cardo will never come to us again." "What do you mean?" His daughter didn't quite understand. At this point, Danas turned around and looked in the direction where Naruto and the others disappeared outside the door. "Because someone guarded the country for us, Cardo never had a chance to trouble us again. Even if he didn't see Cardo being killed with his own eyes. But he just believed those people from the bottom of his heart. Especially that blonde boy. He saw with his own eyes that the blonde boy had crushed Momochi, and it was he who offered to find Cardo. All of this, the most central character. It's Naruto. Daughters and grandchildren, who are not aware of all this, naturally do not understand this. However, Danas did not intend to explain too much, but just took off his luggage and said, "I am hungry, I have been traveling for several days, and I am exhausted. I want to cook for you now, do you want to have some wine?" "Yes." "Happy today. Drink more." Danas arrived home safely, and the atmosphere in the house was particularly warm. At this time, Naruto and the others had already walked away. Before reuniting with Zaiba Chop, they planned to find a place to take a break. "After all, I was really tired after walking so far." The 4 of them found a shop and sat down to prepare something to eat. After each ordered their favorite food, Kakashi looked at Naruto, who was sitting beside him. Naruto didn't look back, just said lightly, "Kakashi-sensei, what are you doing looking at me like that?" "What's on my face? I'm curious why you would want to blackmail Cardo for this suggestion." "Didn't I say, I want money?" "You don't look like the kind of person who is greedy for money, and you're only 12 years old, where can you spend your money?" At this time, the store has already delivered the ordered things. Naruto started eating unceremoniously, responding while eating, "I used to be alone, so I didn't lack money, but now with Xiangfos and Aunt Chuenjio with me, there are many places where I need to spend money." Kakashi nodded, feeling that Naruto had a point. But he still felt that things were not so simple, and after thinking about it, he continued. Could it be that you came up with this plan for the sake of the Land of Waves? Naruto frowned. For the Land of Waves? Why, the country of waves is poor and has been oppressed by Cardo for a long time, and if he dies and the bridge in the country of waves is repaired, then their economy can warm up and the people here can live a better life. Oh. Naruto had a nonchalant expression. That's good. It seems that I really did a good thing. Kakashi looked at Naruto carefully. I thought that's what you thought in the first place. Naruto couldn't help but laugh, laughing lightly. Kakashi-sensei, although I am young, I am not that kind. I and Danas are just a relationship between the client and the trustee, and it is my first time in the country of Hano Kuni. I don't need to make such a big fuss for someone I don't know at all in the country, right? Clear and logically correct. No one would do such a thing, for someone unrelated.